putting myself into the wrong places that I now know were the wrong kind of places. And that revelation kind of happened between me and my mum and my younger brother. And it was, we need to stop drinking. It was very intense and there was a lot going on. And I remember the first 20 minutes I just sat down and I was like, the grass was just going, and you do feel sick that often. You don't want to go into that world too often. It's intense, it's a lot to feel, it's a lot to process.
Welcome, Ryan in the Sheds.
Thank you.
Ryan, thank you for coming, man.
It's all right, man.
We appreciate you being
I
here.
really like being here.
I love your hat. I love your hat as well.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. We're on a top floor in a flat, and summer's just arrived at the end of September, so I don't know how it's going to be.
It's going to get hot in here. It's definitely going to get hot. Obviously, you've been doing your own podcast.
Yeah.
So, I've definitely been watching you and like seeing you on your journey, and it's been quite an incredible one so far.
Thank you.
But what we're going to do today is I want to find out about Ryan himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Because normally you're the one asking the questions.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So
what do you want to know, bro?
let's go back. So I know we went to school together.
Yeah.
What happened for you after Highlands?
After school, fucking hell, way back then, yeah. Well, first of all, Highlands was a weird one, wasn't it? Because I feel we were the second year into a new school, and it is like anything. You're a business person, you know that within the first years of business, it's always like it starts off with a wobble, then a wibble, and then you kind of get used to it. And I feel like the teachers went on for a wobble for about 6 years. So I found school for me was a very, I drew in books. I didn't really concentrate. I didn't really absorb anything. And from that leaving, I didn't really know what to do. So I went straight into building. And from building, I was kind of a bit lost, to be honest.
What type of building?
Labouring,
okay,
moving a broom from one end of the room to the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I think I enjoyed it, but not. I didn't. It was like work.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. That's something I can do to get money, to get trainers, to go out to do stuff. But that was like 15, 16. GCSEs. I was like just staring at the walls, smoking a weed pipe at fucking 7 a.m. near Sainsbury's car park. Like, yeah, I'll be ready for the day.
Yeah.
Whistling in the exams. So I was not a school. I was a creative, but didn't know it. I think, I was creating in school because I was drawing all the time.
Did you not feel like the school helped you with like find that either?
The only teacher that was trying to help me a bit was the art teacher and the Scottish guy, Mr. Cousins.
Oh, I loved Mr. Cousins.
Yeah,
do you know what?
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Yeah. Always stunk of booze though.
Yeah, I know he did. He was definitely a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I had exactly the same problem at school. And there was literally only 2 teachers that really liked me. One was Mr. Cousins, and then I think mine was actually a technology teacher because I didn't do art.
Brady?
I think it was Miss Brady.
Yeah, she was good. Calling them all out today.
Yeah, that's right.
The bad ones. I don't even remember you.
Yeah. So
yeah, after school I went into building. I was good at art. I wasn't really. I think I always had a bit of chat in school, but I wasn't. I went through a bit. School's a bit weird. You kind of get thrown in. And then you're kind of like, okay, this is new. This isn't like primary school. Then I was kind of a bit of like talking all the time or getting myself in trouble a little bit. Or most of the time it's because I was scared of reading out loud in the class or something like that. But then I think I realised I was good at art mainly through school. And from that, I'm trying to remember, like I went into building. My stepdad had a building company, so I kind of, it's like come and work like,
for him.
Get into that, like, you don't know what else you want to do. I went to college, done carpentry.
Oh, did you?
Unfortunately, near, I think it's Boreham Wood, but it's Hertford College.
Yeah.
There's a pub opposite, so that didn't work out too well.
I ended up just
used to see the teachers in there at lunch at the same time, so it wasn't the best. I'd started drinking at that point, really.
Did you?
And then
because you didn't really have any interest for the
carpentry, no, because it was just like I was so like unaware of like why I was doing certain things. I was just doing things because I thought that's what you had to do. Going on the system roller coaster. Like, okay, I need money. I need to learn this. That gives me money. I don't really know why I'm doing this. Is this what I'm meant to be doing, or is this because w't I am I need to do this?
Yeah, I can really relate to that.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing.
How long did that all last for then?
So college. I'm so bad at like
It's
what was
been a while.
yesterday. But college was a waste of time for me. Really, I left it. I left and moved to Spain. That's what happened. Moved to Spain with my uncle, and that was an interesting period. I was building then Spanish kind of lifestyle, so like drinking like at 4 o'clock after work, and you know the sun's out, sangria, and I kind of tried that for a while, but the winters were very bleak. You know, it was quite hard to integrate. I don't think because of our kind of our the way we represent ourselves on sort of holidays in Spain. Sometimes a certain not to name certain English, but there's certain English we go out there. I've been one of those guys that drinks too much and acts like an idiot, and I felt the summers were fun, but it was very like, Magaluf or drink culture, or just hard to integrate with anyone that wasn't on holiday for 2 weeks. And the Spanish there I couldn't really connect with without speaking Spanish that much. So I was in this kind of weird limbo, kind of like work with my uncle, be mates with my uncle, go drinking with my uncle, or do these other things, and not really work out like why am I here? I had to move there because of certain family problems as well, and sort of problems with police that I was getting into at that time, with sort of friends that we had in school. You know what I mean? There was things that were going on there, and my mum kind of went into a bit of a panic state and was like, "You're going to your uncle's," you know what I mean?
He lived out there
already.
It was
a Bel Air situation.
Yeah.
Your aunties, and I'm fucking, so yeah, I kind of it wasn't like a massive choice of my own. It was kind of like, you're 17 and you need to sort your shit out a little bit.
We had a guest on the other week actually who went for exactly a very similar thing. Yeah, and he had like an issue with gangs and violence, and in the end he had to go to Australia and stay out there. And yeah. So I can understand.
Yeah, mine wasn't that serious in the sense. It was more like stupid 16, 17-year-olds in that period where you've left school but you don't know what to do till you can go to a pub. So you either nick cars or hang on the street, or end up in fights because you're drunk as a kid on the street and you don't know what to do because you're bored. It was kind of a thing. I think a lot in that circle we probably all regret a bit now we were doing that, because we wasn't knowledgeable of the other things we could be doing. But I think that is a period through childhood where there's a gap, where if you're not in the right kind of avenue or parenthood or circle, then you can get up to mischief and going out, and your parents don't necessarily know that you're going to get nicked, and because it was a stupid fight over something that just didn't need to happen.
Things just get escalated, and I think in that kind of stage as well, like when you're still trying to find yourself, it's easy to get lost along that journey as well. So you're trying out all different routes, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And
then I've come back from Spain.
You came back from Spain?
Yeah.
Was there like a kind of like...
I was a raving alcoholic.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I was in a bit of a bad
way.
I wouldn't say raving alcoholic. I think there's a difference in addiction, and there are people that might be a drinker all day, or there's a binge drinker, or there's a person that can't socialize. Like, not going to the full state of addiction, but I was a person that couldn't socialize without drink, and it put me in that kind of position.
A lot of people fall into that.
Because I think when you go out and you drink every weekend, you numb all your senses. So when you go into that setting without the drink, you realise, wow, this is quite intense.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you realise what you usually do is have a drink, and that numbs those senses. So to actually be sober, with people like it's boring, no, it's actually fucking a lot more intense, mate.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like a social anxiety.
Yeah, of course. I used to pre-drink and throw up sometimes as well, like because of nerves, just to socialise.
Really?
And now I talk to people that I don't even know and bring them to
London
without alcohol.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the truth's there, yo. You don't need it.
No, that's right. That's right.
So I come back, and
so you was in a bit of a state at this point.
Yeah, I was like 19, 20, didn't know what to do, and I was trying to get back into like London, and I've been in Spain. I was going to the beach most days, or but I was drinking a lot in that setting, and then I was around a lot of people my age as well. So, but I was doing driving lessons as well. And I remember that my driving instructor was definitely not just a driver instructor. He was stopping off at certain places which was quite interesting. And I was like, this is a funny, why are we stopping here? And anyway, not to name anyone, but that kind of, I realised, like, I was getting in the car and he's like, fucking hell, boy. Like, what was you doing yesterday? Just stunk of booze, And looking back on it now, I can see it clearly that I had a problem. But when I was going through that, it's normalised. Oh, well, he's hitting it heavy and da-da-da-da. No, you're like damaging yourself.
Especially if it's like a societal thing, or if that's all you've known growing up and it's considered a bit to be okay. Like you've gone through that journey and everything technically is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Until it becomes a heavy weight and then
where did I go after that? Then I don't. There might be a period where I've kind of lost. I went into a state agency. Did I go into a state agency first? Yeah, I went into a state agency. Hated that.
Did you?
No offense to any estate agents, but I can't deal with like the fugazi of things. Like, we've got 4 sales to hit this week, and I'm like, bollocks, mate. We haven't got the stock. I'm working on the stock system shit. I felt it was always like team meetings and all this stuff. Like, I couldn't hack it.
It wasn't your vibe.
Very unnatural, you know what I mean? Primark suit, dodgy watch, and a company car. Like, I hated it. It was like, and I was drinking through that as well. And then I had to get out, so I was planning to go to Austria for a ski season with a girlfriend at the time. And maybe, I think a few months before it happened, I got done for drink driving. So I think subconsciously I got done for drink. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit. And I knew if I got done for drink driving, I wouldn't have that job anymore, I think, because I handed my keys in. I was like, right, I'm off. See you later.
Did you?
But then it was this whole, like, I was four times over. So I was pretty fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I managed to drive to my house from the luxurious Winchmore Hill Broadway. What a fucking pub that was. Drove from there to my house, which is, you know where I live, it's not far. And I actually got pulled over very close to it.
Really? Yeah, you didn't make it home?
No, and it was only because I didn't indicate turn left. I was driving pretty clear. I was driving pretty smooth. There was other things keeping me quite alert. So going through that process, it was undercover. It was 3:00 in the morning and I was in an unmarked BMW. So it wasn't a company car either.
Did they take you away or?
Yeah. They took me away, George.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got in the car.
Put you in a cell.
And what was funny was the police officer was like, Ryan, you seem like a nice guy, and like I even like corrected the guy on the spelling on my whatever paperwork.
Yeah.
And I just remember the guy stepping out, like I did the blow test there, and then stepping out, and the guy was like, before he was like, I think you'll be fine. If you do like 42, they'll probably give you a slap on the wrist, whatever. And then he literally poked his head out the door and was like, Ryan, you blew 115?
No.
And I was like, shit, is that not good then? And this girl was on the phone. And she's like, yeah, we thought he's blown like 4 times over. And I was like, I am here, So yeah, that was quite a bad time. And then I was going in and out, they had to keep me in for ages because I was so drunk.
Obviously this word, you explained it quite like comically.
Yeah. I remember leaving and I remember throwing up in the Tottenham police station and being like, fuck, like this is fucked.
Yeah,
like, what have I just done? You know what I mean? Like, and then it's the other case that if I was that bad, I could have killed someone.
Yeah, that's
this shit,
the bigger
it's
thing.
careless. It's so careless. So, and I was being careless. So I don't regret it because it changed my path, and I needed to do something like that. I needed to be in a situation where I had to go court, obviously, and this solicitor, who was like a little, like crazy dude, he was like, well, he came in like a tornado and was like, you basically, this could be, your license definitely going to be taken away, probably a 2-year ban, maybe ASBO, but also probably a prison sentence. And my dad just went, what? I didn't think this was that bad, Ryan. So he does talk like that, people. And then the first judge seemed all right. He kind of was like, let's do a character judge. So I had to go to parole and then go through that situation and explain, and she said, let's give him a 12-month suspended sentence. So it would have been, I just charmed the fucking life off. So I was like, I gotta just sell myself. All that estate agency training, I've got to go in.
Came into good use.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, deal with this. And then the judge changed, and she was having none of it. She was like, it's all great. You seem like a nice person. You've worn a suit today, but the fact is, you blew four times over, and or 3 or 4 times.
Close to.
You could have really injured someone, or this could have been your life, And I think you need to have a 2-year ban. But then the fact was, I was going to bloody Austria, leaving to Austria a month later. So I was like, if they give me an ASBO, or I was trying to plead for an ASBO for a month so that I could go still rather than 6 months community service. So I got an ASBO between 9 p.m. till 7 in the morning. So I started going fabrics at 7:30 in the morning, but sober, kind of. But, I'll go to the pub till like half 8, but not drink. So I was kind of like getting into that, that situation. But then the ASBO kind of turned into like, well, I had a girlfriend, let's drink and do drugs at home or whatever, things like that. It turned into that. And then the kind of thing was, and like, I think I was making myself a bit sick, to be honest. Like, when you're in that, like,
unintentionally,
not eating at the weekends, partying, raving,
And what do you think that was, like a cry for help, or?
Not a cry for help, just didn't fucking know what my purpose was, didn't know what I was fucking doing. So you just drown it in situations, Or it's better to be high than not.
Numb yourself, yourself
sitting
from
here with a fucking mushroom hat on. I don't know.
Yeah.
But can I swear?
Yeah,
just checking. I've just done about
the
10
real
bombs
you
already. So I went to Austria, and we was there early. People looked at us like, there's no snow. You're a little bit early. There's no jobs. So I was there, and I managed to hustle like 2 glass collecting jobs on either side of the mountain. Krista Skierhelm, big up Krista. She was very assertive, and it was really good. I was up at 7 in the morning, and maybe I was broke, so I was on like really pennies monthly. I didn't go there. I went there with like 250 quid.
Wow.
It was like a get out situation. I had problems with certain family members that through business I was owed certain money. And then, that didn't happen. So I was kind of stranded there in a certain sense. So that was a bit long. And then...
So it was about survival.
Yeah, it was kind of... But it was also like, I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not going to fail at this.
Yeah.
I need to sort my life out. And it gave me such a
drive.
Such a drive to get up and ski every day and be physical and realise, okay, I can work a little bit. I can, just be present and not worry about building this, building that, and being in that mindset.
Were you still drinking much around then?
Not really. Like, it was a bit like that, going out and drinking, but not in this kind of vice situation, because I learnt to be sociable through skiing, and I'm realising that as I'm speaking right now. So, that allowed me to put myself in a position where, you can't drink and ski, bro.
Yeah,
you can a little bit,
a
couple of beers, but you don't want to, hit the Jaeger bombs and go down the slope too much. Most people do.
Yeah, to be fair, when we went skiing last year, that you could tell the drunk ones, because all the people would be getting collected like from what they called like the ski-mobiles. They'd be driving up and like taking down all the drunk people that were up on these, like, I don't even know why there's like clubs and bars up at the top of the mountain, to be honest with you, but apparently it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, it is. Sometimes. But that was an amazing journey. The person I was with at the time is a really good friend now. We was in a relationship, but it was more like we were holding each other's space in a sense. We were both on a kind of like...
Had each other's backs.
Yeah, and we both had trouble with certain, addictions and problems and lifestyles. And we were kind of like, well, we kind of knew we didn't want to be together through the process, but we didn't want to leave each other through the process. We kind of both were realising there was so much stress around staying there that it was hard to have a relationship in that sense.
I wanted to ask you a question. Do you think, like, as you go through life, you almost meet the reflection of who you are at that given time?
Yeah, I am I because you are you and you are you because
I
am I. Yeah.
Like,
so you can't be you and I can't be me. We're all
like,
just one, bro.
What I'm trying to say is that when you like meet a partner, like sometimes I meet the reflection of where you are in that given point in your life. So it was quite interesting because you almost met someone who was going through their own trauma, their own
trials and tribulations, and you know, a twin flame can be the mirror of yourself, and in the sense, it's not some for a reason, some for a season, some for a lifetime. You know, there's many people that walk in and walk out, but you know, I think you should treasure them all, even when they were good or bad. And I think that point was, it was a mirror. We were both mirroring each other, and from that, we both learned from each other. And we got through it, and it was, you know, we're now very close friends. We talk, and, you know, it's a great thing to go through with someone, I think, you know. And to have the money stress as well when you're in you know, most people are like, right, I've got, you know, 10 grand to go Australia. I've got that sorted. It was like, right, we need to kind of like get in there with people, sort out, you know, it was tricky. So yeah,
fair
that was
play
that.
to you though. You know, you went out there and you made something out of it.
Yeah.
So it weren't.
Yeah, I can ski backwards.
Nice.
But then I came back from there and I was a bit lost because it was like, right, I've got this kind of, that was my drive. I was like, cool. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to build a shed. And my dad took me in. There was a period, I worked in the George pub. There was a period.
Oh, did you?
I worked in a pub as well.
Big up the George pub.
And lived with a girlfriend then 18 blocks up when I was a estate agent. That's what I was doing then. Anyway, I could have left that bit out, but I thought like I'll just fill it in there. So I came back and I built the shed. And I built it through the winter. Didn't have many friends at that time that were really willing to help. They would kind of say, they'll be around on Sunday, and then Sunday would be this kind of no phone calls and no one answering situation.
Do you feel
because I've been away for a while. I've been in Spain for a while,
That's
so you lose that kind of integration with people, which is fair enough. And you have to build that through certain things you do or anything else.
Do you think that was a good thing for you though? Do you think that maybe you needed that space to like find out exactly where you were going to go next on your journey? Because,
for sure. Yeah, I mean,
because it could have been easy just to fall back into default and go back into exactly the same place that you were right at the beginning.
Yeah, of course. I think to be alone for a certain period of your life is a good thing. You know, I wasn't completely alone. I was with a partner at the time, but you know, I could travel alone. You know, you meet loads of people that way because also you're not dependent on someone else and where they need to go and everything else. But I think to do the journey with someone is probably better. Especially with, you know, a partner. I think that's interesting. But yeah, I came back and was like, I need a studio or something. So me and my dad found this shed on eBay and I can't find it again now. It's gone. So I need to take the front of it when I leave. But basically,
you built it in the garden.
Yeah.
That's how
so I built the
shed was born.
Yeah, that's how Dirty Rich was born. My clothing line.
Oh, okay.
So even at this point, I was drinking on and off and things like this. You know. But I was a bit more level-headed, I would say. But then I started a clothing line and didn't really have a clue. You know, I didn't do textiles. I didn't go to university.
You were just like, I'm starting a clothing brand.
Yeah, and I was in my dad's car and I was like, I'm going to call it Dirty Rich. There was no thought process behind that at all. I was kind of thinking, well, from the dirt to the rich. It was kind of my like... That was my lesson brand. That was my like university. That was like, you're going to make a lot of mistakes with this. On the outside, it will look cool. But on the inside, it's like, you don't know about business. You don't know about how to make clothes. You're going to come up against every trouble you could think of. And that was it, you know. And I kind of made all this. I learned how to screen print off YouTube and like insulated the shed 20 mil thick. That was a really stupid idea because screen printing is really hot. It's a lot of work, and the sun sits on the shed all day. So I was printing clothes in my boxers, you know, and I was in pain a lot of the time because I was trying to get a lot of them ready for festivals. So then the drinking crept in again a little bit, and I'm making this a lot about drinking, but it was a process
good.
through that period.
It's good because you can talk about it.
Yeah, at the same time, it was something that was like a vice through the aches and pains sometimes as well, because we all know it does numb that situation. But there was, I got shopping in Camden through this company or government funded thing. There was 12 of us in the shop, so you'd share it. So I had all this stock and I was like, yeah, I'll just sell it online. Little do people know, a website can be a black hole unless you funnel it from now Reels, but this time was Instagram and it was picture based. We didn't have TikTok, we didn't have YouTube in that sense to make, videos. It wasn't this way you could sell like that. It was very much picture based. People weren't really doing videos at that point, on that level. Obviously major brands are doing, commercials and everything else. But so I kind of like wormed my way into this shop, and then that shut down because I think the funding stopped or whatever. But 4 of us took a shop in Camden Market. So below the club, Proud. I also worked in Proud.
Did you?
Yeah.
For a period of
That
time.
was another crazy, wild period. But that was in between. That was when I came back from Austria, actually. I was building the shed and I was working in Proud
at the same time.
And then that was another 9 o'clock till fucking 6 in the morning, going to the chicken shop after.
What did that do? Just encourage drinking?
Made me throw up after eating dodgy chicken that was probably a rat. So that was that period. I was going through that. But I met a lot of good friends through that as well. Some of them that have been on my pod and stuff like that. Through every sort of thing you got to get through, you always meet great people. You always learn lots of good things. And you always learn lots of bad things. But all of it turns into, hopefully, the existence of you and bettering yourself. So that period was a bit of that. But again, it's like putting myself into the wrong places that I now know were the wrong kind of places. But you have to go from, the yin to the yang, the dark to the light, the da-da-da,
Got to get lost to get found.
Yeah. So I built the shed, started learning from YouTube how to screen print, got a shop below the club. But then I started walking up the hill to Proud. And sometimes I was drinking at the bar on my own. And then I was going back down to the shop, spunking money, going to the fucking bar, do you know what I mean? And getting to know people that were there, and like I used to work, I was like, what am I doing, But then I started going festivals, so I started selling all the clothes at festivals. So we'd go to all these different places.
How did that work out for you?
That was stress. That was mad.
Really?
It was mad. One festival had 56 people come. We did a collaboration with a festival called NAS, so we did a 3-part collab with 3 different styles of t-shirts, and we just had a whole activation, so DJs, but it was like 31 degrees. So everyone was outside. This was like a building inside. And then they were like, oh, by the way, the walls are memorial, so you can't damage the walls. So I was like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm having a party in there. They told me this a week before. So I got pallets and turned them into an L shape and built it there and then. And that was just mad. But it was a lot of drinking, a lot of partying, making money, but like also the margins weren't great because you're putting in so much, and then it's so much. Your whole summers are gone, And it was. I met a lot of amazing people from all around the world, and it was really interesting. And for me, it was kind of like the vehicle. The clothes were like the vehicle for me to learn my communication skills, to learn that I can put myself in these areas, and I loved just being in the shop talking to people all the time. And I hardly ever talked about the clothes. I'd be talking about where they're from or what they, I was literally doing a pod without knowing I was doing a pod. So, but then COVID happened. So, and that, online sales are great for a bit, but then I was like great. It was another drunk driving thing for me, COVID.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like, boom, you're going to change. Another flip. I change all the time. Every year there's a new me. I keep changing or developing, or I think it's developing, not really changing. You're building on the structure of yourself like a building. It's like a coffee plant. It likes to keeps like growing up. That's why all the cities grow so high. Everyone's drinking coffee. I'm going off on a waffle, but still.
I understand what you're talking about. The thing is, at least like you're trying to find yourself through this process. And,
of course.
You're trying to find out what works, what doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
And some people are still trying to look for that in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s. So I think your duty to yourself is to try new things out and do exactly what you were doing. But unfortunately, we probably all want a bit of an easy life, and we go through this process where, sometimes it's like we feel like, because it's a bit of a painful journey, that we're doing something wrong, where it might be a necessary journey for you to get to where you need to get to.
Yeah, you always reflect and go, oh, that's why that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you can't talk about. I always say with any form of things you want to quit, you need to do the 2-week balance. If you want to quit coffee, all right, see how you feel without coffee. Because if you drunk coffee since the age of 16, you wake up every morning, you stay in that vibration, you stay in that frequency, you stay in that way of thinking, whatever you want to call it, vibe, stimulant. You don't know that maybe you might feel a lot different if you don't drink that. Because you think, I need that to wake up. But really, if you drink it first in the morning, you're going to be tired in the afternoon. It has that effect.
It has that effect.
Then you need to pick me up. Yeah. So I always do like a 2-week break from anything, or if it's new exercise or running or kung fu. A lot of the time I try and throw too much on myself, like do this, do that, da 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 da, and then you're like, fuck,
overwhelmed.
Now I've broken my foot.
Yeah.
So, but going back to like the COVID in the shed, when that happened for me, for like, okay, what do I want to do? That's the first moment I was like, I want to do. The pods were like a thing, Joe Rogan, blah blah blah. A year ago or a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I just did a pod on my birthday. Just spoke.
What do you mean, like 2 years ago? They were a thing, like during the COVID
They were a
time?
thing, but not at COVID time. It exploded.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Pods just grew. Everyone's got a pod now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it exploded at that period because, like, well, if I can't leave my house, who do I talk to?
Yeah.
So people, through that confinement, people were like, right, I want to fucking network and I want to build something and I've got this time.
Yeah, I wish that's what I did. I didn't do that.
Well, you're doing this now and you're doing it in the process in the right time. There's no.
I just pretty much became an alcoholic during. That's what happened to me. Unfortunately, I struggled with it a bit. Got too accustomed to that lifestyle and I fell into that kind of.
Was you alone?
No, I was with the three of my family, but it was just the same thing day in and day out.
Day out.
And I was working myself, and I'd started my business at this point, and I was doing it for, I must have been like 2 years in, but all of my life at that point was just working.
Yeah.
So like the output, like the coping mechanism, because I couldn't go gym, I could have trained at home. I could have done a little bit more, but I just found an easier route just drinking. I mean, the good thing is I put myself off JD and Coke for the rest of my life, so that's really good.
That was my drink.
Yeah, that was my drink, but I can't stand it now.
Yeah,
it's horrible. But yeah, I drank far too much because one thing that I can kind of relate to you on, which I've always had a bit of an issue of growing up, was addiction. So like I've always been like had this traits of like, whether it was food, because you knew me when I was younger and I was a very big overweight boy.
Yeah. I forgot that,
I was like 19 stone at my heaviest.
Fucking hell.
And then like I lost a load of weight. Then I had like substance abuse issues and stuff like that. So what I was kind of curious about your life and your journey is like where you were drinking and where you put that post up. A little while ago, you kind of told the world how you turned completely sober.
Yeah.
And I was quite curious about all of that because I think your journey like that was a really pinnacle point for you, and I think there's a lot to take for that to give back to.
Yeah, it was quite an emotional time. It was quite I think things happen when they need to happen, and I think the shift was quite dramatic, but it needed to happen in the way that it did, and it was basically, not going into too much family detail, but it was a disagreement at a restaurant between me and a member of my family, and that was something that used to happen a lot. And it was my stepdad in a sense. We were arguing, but that wasn't really that bad. It was there's been alcohol in my family a bit, and the thing was that not in the sense that it's controlled my family or been too damaging, but I think to see a sober family, you'd realise it is a bit damaging. Yeah,
the difference, the contrast.
Yeah, and that revelation kind of happened between me and my mum and my younger brother, and it was, we need to stop drinking. These are causing fights or things like that. And me and my stepdad haven't argued in years. We've had our problems in the past, but we haven't argued in years, and we've been quite good with each other,
Yes,
but I think
glad to hear that.
Some outside sources for him that day weren't working. It wasn't his day, and we just bumped heads. But from that came the goodness of me and my mum going sober, and I made a pact with her on that day. I said, well, if you stop drinking, I won't ever touch a drink again. So it made me, I can't do it now. But it don't even bother me. I can be in the most intense fucking setting in my life, like Boom Festival or wherever, these environments, and you actually feel safer because I'm around people now that don't drink.
Oh, okay.
I'm around, and there's millions of us. you know, and there's so much to do in that avenue. And, you know,
was it literally just like
it was a snap.
Switch,
I was
moment?
like, cool, you know, because I was
done.
like, because I can't see it damage her, you know, and I think if I can be her, you know, I can be someone that can help her through that process, and in turn she's helping me, because if I go to pick up a drink, I can't even really drink the non-alcoholics.
Yeah.
You know, if I go to pick up a drink, you're
almost like betraying the.
Well, I'm portraying that pact.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and I wouldn't want to have the conversation. Say I let you down. I've you know, because she needs it more than me in that sense. You know, because women as well. Women are big drinkers at home.
So really, what you can kind of take from what you've just said is that, by not making it all about you, it actually gave you an opportunity to grow beyond the old version of yourself where you were drinking all the time.
Yeah.
But actually, someone else needed your help, so you had to almost lead by example as well.
Yeah, it showed the light basically
yeah.
on, you know, and since that was you know, a while ago now, I don't know, 8 months or so. That, you know, but before that, it was a bit easy for me because I was kind of leading into this life I'm in now. I was always like, I don't like drinking that much anymore. I got to that point. We're all getting to that point past our 30s. You're like, I don't like the damage it does on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't like the shit I talk. I don't like, you know, staying out and not caring in certain. We're all getting slightly to that stage.
Like a load of money.
I hope we are anyway.
Yeah.
But
well, it all depends how like it's probably impacted some people. Like, because you even spoke about this like outside. It's not that like you're still okay with other people drinking, but it's just that excessive lifestyle where it impacts your life, and then it like there's an extremity to it.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously you've been kind of felt the sharp side of that sword in your life.
Yeah.
So it's something that you'd prefer not to keep having to repeat. And
I think anyone, if anyone says that it's you know, it's a great thing in their life, and it's, you know, I haven't met someone like that yet. It's usually a vice to get away from where the shit is. You know, it's usually, oh fucking hell, I need a drink, or smoking. You know, I need to breathe.
Yeah.
You know, I need a break. I have a cigarette.
Yeah, because
like,
I still vape.
Use a vape, yo.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it the other day.
I'll send you a Wim Hof video, 11 minutes. Just do a little. But that's what I find funny, because that's how it gets you. Because it's not necessarily nicotine. It is, but at the same time, it's breathing. You are breathing.
That's all it is.
And that's a really good stress reliever. So when you think about it, if you're taking 20 puffs, you know, what do you do in a panic attack? You breathe. So that it's relatable to the cigarette at the same time. You're grounding yourself, you know, but unfortunately it has quite a bad ripple effect, smoking, you know, whereas you can just breathe, people.
Yeah, you can, exactly that.
You know?
I understand. So did you find that your whole life started to change after you started going sober, or did not much happen for you? Like what kind of happened after?
Everything
happened for you.
Yeah. It's like, cool, here's the doors, bro. Walk through them, you know? I mean, the pod, you know, like I would hate the anxiety of alcohol, be it doing a podcast. I mean, I've drunk through them. I've done mushrooms on it. I've done it ill, hungover. I've done pods in any kind of situation. And externally, I might seem like the fun entertainer kind of guy, but internally, you know, I'm not enjoying it, because I'm like, there's a certain stress around my temples that I can feel, and it's like, yeah, I'd rather just do it without this extra stress level, that I don't need. So that really helped. But then just, I've been to all these festivals this year that are, you know, based, rather than going there to let loose, it's more to go there and experience what's going on with you internally. Go and do an hour breathwork session and basically release energy in your body that's a trapped trauma that you didn't even know was there, and laugh and cry and lay there with 50 other people in a room, you know, to grow. You're all there to grow. You're on an experience of a weekend where you're learning, and you come out of that weekend and yes, you're fucking exhausted, but not through battering your body through substances and everything else. So it's
what's it through, like healing.
These things are exhausting. You know what I mean? You can be high from them, or you can be low, because they're going to pull out what they're going to pull out. And breath work and sound and I did Hape, I think it's called, which is it's an Aboriginal or I think it's from Peru. It's Peruvian. I don't want to butcher this, but so I'm not going to be on the facts. But basically, it's like a pipe, and they blow a dust into your nose. And I had a headache before, and just literally got rid of my headache completely. It was amazing.
Did it?
And then we painted afterwards, and I was in there with a room, but I was looking at people doing it before, and I was like, they're all kind of sneezing and some of them are coughing and look a bit in pain, but for me it was intense. A lot of these things are very, very intense. The breath work's intense. You don't really know what's going to hit.
Did you find like in this environment of people that you really like gelled with them and you could resonate with them, or did like they all seem like a bit nuts to you?
No, but this kind of world, people are very forgiving, very humble. At the beginning I was like, God, these people fucking hug. They hug for so long. Why are you hugging for so long? And now I'm like, give us a hug. And it's heart-based. It's connecting the hearts. It's like you're hugging for a while because you're able to give that. You're in a place where you've gone through a lot of these trials and tribulations, and that breath work can bring this stuff out, and it's not new to you. And like I'm walking around with this mushroom hat on, and people are like,
showing you love.
Yeah, but it's put me in that space that I was saying today, that I could have gone to road rage with this guy, because he wouldn't let me go down the road. I was halfway down the road. I live around the corner, and I turned it into giggles, because it was like he was like, you're coming down so fast, and I was like, look, it's a very slow car, and then I just said, why don't we just go and have a nice day together? Or not together, listen, I don't know you nutter. But I said, look, you have a nice day, I have a nice day, the sun's out.
And he diffused the situation.
He was just like, let's do, done. But an older me who hasn't gone through these things, and that's where it matters. That's where you can change your course, where you've gone through certain things in your life, and you can change the course of how you react and respond because you've gone through certain things. A Muay Thai fighter, if he's going to be the quiet one, or not the one that's going to hit first when there's a fight in a pub or whatever, he's going to be the calmest, because he's put himself in those situations and he knows how they can go. And it's like,
it's the loudest ones that
you're worried about. Yeah, in a sense. But I think that's what it's taught me a lot of this year, that there's a lot more to see out of clubbing, and there's a lot more you can do, and there's a whole new world to learn from I'm going into, and it's kung fu, and it's working out, and it's running, and it's meditation, and it's occasional mushrooms, and going through shit rather than hiding it.
So I'm curious, right? So when did you develop this passion towards mushrooms? And when we talk about mushrooms, we're not just talking about psychedelics. We're just talking about mushrooms as a whole. Or is it specifically psychedelics?
No, not psychedelics, because psychedelics, as much as people think, you don't need them that often. You don't want to go into that world too often. It's intense. It's a lot to feel. It's a lot to process. And I wouldn't recommend people, I advocate, but I don't advocate, I don't distribute, I don't do anything, I just look at it like, you be very careful with these substances. There's a reason they're illegal. There's a reason we have to learn about them. There's not something you can just go and do in the pub. I do advocate them, that they are very good for you, but they're not going to be easy for you to ingest and, go through a process that you might have never experienced before. And if you're a person that's used to alcohol and ecstasy and other things like that, then they're very, very different. And you can do all the breath work and meditation in the world, but you're never going to be ready for a magic mushroom, basically. They can be intense, but the other side of it is there's so many gourmet and medicinal purposes. I think psilocybin is a great healer of the mind, but lion's mane, that grows your brain. A lot of these things I'm going to say as well are from a mentor of mine called Darren Barron. So I don't want to, it's a lot of knowledge that all this knowledge has been passed down to us, and it's been hidden in a lot of places. But I went on a mycology class. He's an amazing guy.
What's a mycologist?
Mycologist is study of fungi.
Okay.
Mushrooms, mycology. I think the first thing, going back to when I started, was Fantastic Fungi, Paul Stamets documentary, from that, I learned that, oh my God, like they're the network under the ground. Mycelium is the roots of everything. Trees communicate through it. Like, these are the thing. These
it's
are
like Avatar.
they're 13 million years old. They apparently came on a comet. You know, they're aliens.
Is that
Yeah.
is that the
That's the kind of
theory?
scientific theory. You know,
Right.
however you want to take it. Who knows how this started anyway? But that is something I look at. At the end of the day, they're here. They are closer to us than plants. You know, they breathe out oxygen. You know, we're more closer to them on the basis of how they are. You know, they create spores which come out of the mushroom top. The mushroom's the fruiting body that comes out of the ground to spread more mushrooms, and then people can eat it, ingest it. You know, and I think from that documentary, I realised the curing capabilities that Paul Stammert's mum had. I think stage 4 cancer. I'm not sure, but he was healing her with turkey tail, which is an immune booster. It's good for it's got antioxidants in it, and it's also really good to fight cancer. So these you can get in a tincture. I was in Groveland's Park the other day, and I picked up loads, put it in a jar. This stuff is everywhere. You know, it's everywhere. You just got to know where to look.
And obviously be careful, just to like not pick up any random mushroom.
Yeah, there are 100,000, if not more, and there's 2% that are edible. But you can use Picture Mushroom, an app. I wouldn't go completely by that because there's even false ones. So there's ones which I just come across the other day. There's even ones that fake. You know how some weeds can look like other weeds? They imitate other weeds. Some mushrooms do that as well, I think. I need to look into that more. But so you got to be careful on that side as well. But yeah, I mean, there's an explosion in the mushroom world at the minute, and everyone's starting to learn. Yeah, you know, lion's mane can help with my focus, and I can take that in the morning. Reishi can help with my sleep at night. It's the sleeping mushroom. Cordyceps, it's in some parts of the world used for Viagra. So,
right, really?
So yeah. So rather than the blue pill, lads,
you can take a mushroom.
You can take a mushroom. And that looks weird though. That's like some orange thing. There's loads, and I'm learning how to, how these are developed and how things can help people, and that's where I want to go with this kind of study that I'm doing, and produce products that are viable, that can demonstrate this can help you with that, this can help you with this. And I come across it because I was struggling with sleep. So I took reishi, and that helped my sleep out completely.
Knocked you out.
Yeah, relaxed me in the evening. But the other side is obviously the the psychedelic side, and that is a voyage in itself.
Yeah.
And one that terrifies me every time, but it's something maybe
does it scare you?
Yeah, you see things, look at all Aztec art.
Why'd you do it if it scares you?
Why'd you do this?
What? Oh, that's a good.
The after feeling.
Yeah.
You know what it gives you. You know what it demonstrates, and sometimes you might go through nerves. You might go through, the nervous system going, look, this is. It's how to understand those feelings. Okay, why am I nervous? Is this because I don't like doing it? Or is this because I'm scared because I might not be accepted in doing this? Mm-hmm. And once you realise, well, if I'm not accepted, I can practice and do it again, then it's that. But with the mushrooms, there's a fear of not knowing what you're going to experience completely, because you're kind of having a communication with them.
Do you think it's almost the fear of that we kind of live in the dark, and by taking mushrooms, it might open a few doors that
like I close my eyes and see things I've never seen in my entire life. I can't go on about my trip experiences in the sense of trying to explain them, because it is like a kind of thing that you have to do yourself. And that these when I'm doing these, it's you can do it in social settings, you can do it in kind of areas of like the park and stuff like that. It's not something, the first time I did it, you were saying like Amsterdam, the first time I did it was Amsterdam, and that was a park that was Central Park. I did like the truffles, and I ate not a lot of it. I was very sensitive to it. I'm quite sensitive to it anyway. You're an air sign, so you got to watch these things as well. I'll tell you about that. But it was very intense, and there was a lot going on. And I remember the first 20 minutes, I just sat down. I was like, the grass was just going, and you do feel sick. You're not purging, you're being sick. You feel sick. Like it's moving, stuff is moving, So it's a very unnerving situation, but I think there's a guy called Professor David Nutt who worked with the BBC, and he's trying to get. There was a documentary where they were doing therapy on 10 patients, and it was they were taking 5 grams of psilocybin in a tablet form in 2 sessions. So I think 10 grams in each. Well, it might have been 2.5. 5 grams is, Terence McKenna would say.
So microdosing.
No. The 5 grams is a fucking
quite a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, Terence McKenna was an advocate for mushrooms, a philosopher, very good speaking about them as well, and how to describe these dimensional realities. And he would say that's a hero dose. You need to fast, and you need to do the hero dose. And I've done a fast and a dose close to that, and that was fucking really intense. Yeah, you know, it's hours of being in a space of real high consciousness and vibration that I can't explain, and I don't really know what's going on still. I'm trying to work through that like everyone else, but this documentary proved, and not proved completely. I think there's work you do inside the trip, and there's work you need to do outside the trip. Like anything else, you know, working out, you can't just do it once and go, that was great, and then you go and eat 5 pizzas.
100%.
The point is, you need to take what you learned from that
moment.
experience, whether good or bad, and interject it into your life and move forward. Some people might only need to trip once in their entire life, you know, but these were people that were heavily addicted to antidepressants. They did 2 doses, 2 sessions, and what showed, blindfold music, what showed them was a visualization, you know, a hallucination in a sense. And most of them, it was about letting the bird out the cage, or being in a great chapel. And that chapel, it is like a temple you go into. It's like a space. I don't know what it is. And that's leading you through this process of your life and what you should do and where you're at. And either you're communicating with yourself or your subconscious or your higher mind or the mushroom. You know, these can be all interpreted by anyone that's on this level or doing trips. But what I saw with people that didn't know about this kind of world, or they was on antidepressants from something quite bad, I'm not sure on every subject, was that they did these 2 trips and it was a snap. 7 of them were good. 3 of them felt they needed it again. And because it's a process through the NHS or a process through the government, it's not accessible. So the problem is, if we put it into them hands, is it a payment situation, or is it a situation where it's controlled, and whether you have the right or not? You know, it should be a substance that we're educated on, that you're allowed to grow, like in Portugal or Spain, that you're allowed to have this substance as a medicine, like the Siberian tribes at Christmas, or, you know, it leads you to a process of understanding that, you know, how to work through your stuff really quickly.
I kind of think that anything that kind of goes through like the NHS or like pharmaceuticals, like there's always going to be a money side to, like, where they just want to try and make
one
money
pill
off
cures
everyone.
all. That's not going to make much money, is it? So they're not going to. They're going to object to this quite obviously, you know, and or they've just done something. I can't remember what it is, but they are starting to use psilocybin. A company's merged. I can't remember. I'm butchering it. I can't remember what it was, but there is something going on like that. I saw it the other day. So when it starts happening too much, I think, in the public and the society, then pharmaceuticals will switch to, okay, we can use this in a certain way.
And charge people for that instead.
Yeah, but you know, Darren LeBaron said on my pod, you know, these patients, or it's too late. They should be doing this at a younger age. They should realise, you know, have the ego death, realise there is more to this afterwards, realise you can come out of your body. You know, I'm adding things to what he said, but he said that you should do this at a younger stage to
do what?
progress.
Mushrooms?
Yeah, mushrooms in that way, but, you know, each to their own, and these are obviously illegal substances, and it's something that I think has a high benefit, but it's something you should tread lightly with as well. They're not something to play with. They've been here for a long time. They're connected to a network underneath the ground. We don't know what it is when we go into that world yet. We don't know what it is. You can describe it kind of and realize you went through it. Where it is and what it is the same thing what we're doing right now. We don't know where it is or what it is or how serious it is. So yeah.
So how talk to me about the pod. Like, you've been on that journey for 18 months, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And like, you've obviously met some really cool people along your journey.
Yeah.
Like, how's that transformation helped you in your life? And like,
massively. It teaches you more about yourself than others sometimes, because you learn from their mistakes, you learn from their challenges, and you learn from what they've gone through, and then you start to realize, okay, everyone's going through the same shit.
We'll all go through something.
Yeah, and it's been amazing, and I've got to leave it soon, but I'm not leaving it completely. I'm moving on to a new chapter, and I want to move more into the world of visuals and experiencing different places and stuff like that, more in a YouTube sense. But the shed itself, I'm going to cry my eyes out on the last day, because it's such a place of good energy, and such a place, places have a space in the heart mind, and I feel that is such an amazing place for me and it makes me appreciate that I can look back and see how resourceful I was. I didn't come from a position where I had a lot of money to set it up, or it was again a bit like the clothing.
Did it all yourself, and
it's very bootleg. You come around the other day and I'm like, okay, cool, like
sit down,
switch on, sit on. Let me. I'm now in the woods.
That's right. Right.
But it takes time to build up, and it's I'm just grateful, to be honest, for all the people I met, for the people that have allowed their time to come round. And
you should be proud of yourself, though. Anyway, taking that plunge. Like, a lot of people would like to do.
I love the
things.
plunge.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly trying to climb out of it. Yeah. But no, it's great.
Talking about doing two different plunges here. So you're going to be on the road at some point.
Yeah.
Is that your plan? So
I'm not sure, because it's what I'm transforming in it is to a 7.3 ton lorry. And I'm going to be doing that up over the winter, and then I'm going to be on the road, trying to maybe get some land, maybe build some yurts, maybe hold space there for learning about ourselves, maybe a sort of sacred men's retreat where men can come and heal, and I can go through sort of the processes of what have taught me, and then collaborate with breath workers that I know, collaborate with people who can tell their story. And I did do a men's sharing circle at Russell Brand's festival, community festival, and it was really good. It was like 50 of us in a room, and intense, and I was feeling quite rough. It was a Sunday, and even though I don't drink, it was rough, because the day before I did breath work and I cried and went through a load of other stuff. And and I went into this men's sharing circle, and I was just like, I just got to do this. I just go with it, whatever. Just say what you're going to say. So it was like 50 of us in a circle, and they went around the circle on how do you feel in one word, and how do you feel from 1 to 10. So I said 7, and I was anxious, or 6 and anxious. And then they put us into groups of 6, and you had a facilitator and then 5 other people. It went that way. I was here. So I was the 6th guy. I was like, great, but then started to realise, like you say, with the partner I had in Austria, the mirror situation, it was like this person had problems with addiction. This person had problems with friendship and not enough friends in his life. This person had problems with porn addiction and leaving his relationship and things like that. Every one of them, I've had one of them problems. So it was like, as soon as it got to me, I was like, right, I've got so much to say, man. And it was,
where do I start?
Yeah, it was really, really good. You can go through breath work, and it's quite internal.
So what, you opened up to like?
Opened up. I said everything.
Did you?
And
what sort of reception did you get from that?
Great. And the idea is not to advise.
Yes.
The other people is not to advise, is to just give something back. Say, this has helped me. Would that help you? Rather than be like, you need to do this, you need to do that, So they facilitated it really well. Yeah. And that really put a new passion in me that, okay, right, like now I've done this kind of vehicle where people can look into other people's realities, and I've really gone for the flat earthers, the the barefooters, the TikTokers, the guy that channels an alien, the guy that doesn't eat food. I've gone to the depths of reality that people don't even know exist in some areas. And I feel now I've done that and learnt processes of other people, I kind of want to set up something where it's a vehicle for people to come and heal from what I've learnt. So that kind of gives that environment, and that was the start of the year, and that was the kind of first sober festival, and it was edging me into all the others, because all the others got quite like more and more intense, you know.
Yeah.
But that really helped. I think that really helps, and I think that's what a lot of men do need. They need a space. You know, boxing is great and the gym is great, but to open up a circle where men can sit and cry and talk about their shit and feel that it's even better that it's with strangers, because you start to realize we're all going through the same problems, and you don't have that kind of, I don't want to put that weight on my mate. I don't want to put that, you know, because you share that. It's 40 minutes. You had 4 minutes to talk. Not 40 minutes. It was 4 minutes to talk, 2 minutes of questions. And everyone in the circle was like, 3 minutes, fucking hell, 4 minutes, quite a long time, isn't it? You know, but because you're like, how many problems do I have? And I did run out a little bit, which is surprising, but you know, it really helped. It really helped. And
just to just get it off your chest.
Get it off your chest. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about this stuff. It's hard to just accept it and be like, cool. It's harder to be a vulnerable person, but it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
You know?
You can kind of grow from it.
Yeah.
And do you feel like even just releasing it out, like communicating it, helps it get out of your system and out of your body, so you're 100%. Not harboring these things?
Yeah. I think yes, there is a biological thing where you get disease, chemical based, biological based, whatever you want to call it. But I think we've forgotten that a lot of trapped energy and trauma is really where it can build up. I believe in chakra systems. I believe that you have energy points in your body, and I believe that if you do, if you do hold guilt or hold a trauma from something that's happened, and you shove that in your subconscious or a part in the body, it will turn into a disease or something that's happened. You know, what's the main cause of heart attacks and cancer and things like that most of the time? Stress. But what is stress? You know, it's a word, but what does that word mean? It means something that's going in mentally, that's then going through physically, and then it's being trapped there. And then what does the body do? It wraps these problems up and tries to protect you in a tumor, and it tries to keep it in there, you know, and then it might let it out, and it might persist if you can't do these things, you know.
The thing I kind of like about that concept as well is while we can make ourselves sick, we can also make ourselves healthy, heal ourselves and actually, so it's not like it's just a one-way ticket.
And that's where I think where these therapy sessions are coming in, and people with cancer and these problems, they're realizing, you know, Darren LeBaron said, he's like, a lot of people come out of these sessions and they go, look, I'm fine, I'm worried about you lot. Like, you lot are in here, like, this is mad. So, but I think what they have a realization of is what they went through and everything else. It's like 4 hours of processing everything really intensely, and it releases that stuff more than anything else. It's very hard to get to that in a mental state of without a substance like psilocybin, I think. Right. And you know, breath work can get you to certain states, but it's not the same. You know, but I found I've done a lot of healing this summer through all these methods, through talking, through breathing, through mushrooms, through experiences, through exercise, through travel. And it's been something that I haven't got in 20 years of drinking. You know, it hasn't done that for me. It's hidden them problems. And that's what I think a lot of us are doing. Delaying them. And also, you know, all those moments you might have been at a pub and you blacked out. Who are you when you black out? Who are you? What is going on? That terrifies me now, you know? And you don't have that with these things.
And that's why the next day you, like, when you remember what you did the night before, you're cringing, did I do that?
That I haven't experienced that in so long, and the people I'm around now and the consciousness that they're in is very calm and always kind of thinking of the other first, and always this, I don't get this feeling of, and all the people before I still chat to and still love and everything else. It's not that they have this energy that I don't want to be around. I can still go in these drinking environments. I went out a while ago till 3 o'clock in the morning, drove home, and was in a club. And I can still go in those places. You just learn to react a bit differently, but it doesn't give me the healing and it doesn't give me the buzz anymore. That's how I feel it.
A different path and a different journey.
I can't go to a club all night and stand and I find it quite boring now, whereas before I love that world.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, I suppose it was, part of that journey that you had to go on, but as you end up where you are now, it's like your focus is in a completely different place. Like something else is kind of pulling towards you, or you're trying to go towards something else. So, and that's okay, to be fair. Like, I don't think everyone's on their own journey at different times and different places, and sometimes we're a bit too critical of ourselves as well when we're on that path, but everything is kind of necessary for that time, and when something's meant to change or go in a different direction, it will happen.
I think we should be critical though. I think sometimes we're not enough. Because I think if you are...
make too many allowances.
Yeah, and I think to educate people on alcohol in the sense of how bad it can get. But even the blind side to it, that it does affect your week.
The problem, the thing with alcohol, though, with the self-criticalness is I find that when someone drinks a lot or takes any substances, you're generally in conflict with yourself.
Yeah.
Something is always like nibbling in the back of your ear to say, do I really want to be doing this?
Yeah.
Like, is this actually helping me? Like when I've done substances in the past, it's like I've enjoyed them 60, 70, 80% of the time, but there's always been like 20% or something or 30% of something saying to me, how is this serving you?
Yeah.
Like, what is this actually really doing?
Or it's 7 a.m. and the birds are coming up and you just feel sick.
Yeah, it's like the worst time.
Yeah.
It's like the worst time.
But it's the unknowing time. Like if we build structures, I'm seeing these festivals I'm going to are young. They're 4 years in. The consciousness is changing. People are changing towards, a lot of people are going sober. Up. Yeah, a lot of people are knowing that these substances that numb you are not really the correct life path we have, but they work in the system we're in at the minute. They're legal. Pub is a really big cultural thing,
Well, do you know what was quite interesting, actually? So I was in Enfield earlier on in Ponders End, and like there was quite a few gambling shops down there, and I was like, you've got people in like certain deprived areas, and they've got gambling shops. It's like...
Yeah, they're always there.
Yeah, and I don't understand how that is helping people. If
profit.
anything, it's just encouraging.
Of course,
things to be worse all the time. So, I was a bit confused. I was trying to kind of process that in my head earlier about like gambling shops, and especially in deprived areas. Like, I mean, I just think gambling shops would destroy people's lives anyway. It certainly did with some family members of mine as well. So. Yeah, it's quite funny about this kind of self-awareness and consciousness and making sure along your journey you really know where you are at that time.
And it's only gonna grow if these places that I'm going to grow, which they are, and they facilitate people that need it. Community Festival by Russell Brand's great because he deals with a lot of people recovering addicts. So it wasn't the whole spiritual crowd that I'm now seeing. It's more, people that have gone through all that stuff. This was very early stages. This is people that, some people are sort of gone through breathwork, but some people have never gone to a men's sharing circle. I hadn't before. It was like, I've literally gone through like fucking 10 years of things in like 3 months, in a sense of, okay, that I feel like that's this, amazing. I feel like that.
That's amazing.
But these sessions or these places should be more readily available in the NHS or stuff like this. But people don't think breath work could heal you through trauma. They don't think that why am I going to do that? I do that down a pub or, but there's a difference. There's a difference of really getting that energy out. And it's hard work. You have to do the work.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to do the work. Switch the telly on.
Just zombie out.
Chill out, zombie out. Don't worry about it. Next morning, then it builds and it builds and it builds. And then you end up in this position where you're like, mental breakdown.
But sometimes...
And you're walking around with a mushroom out on.
Yeah, that's right. No, I think you're further away from that spectrum, to be fair. But it's quite funny, though, because... you know, I've learned through my journey is that if you connect to the pain of something that you're in that's affecting your life, whether it's drinking or anything else, the more you kind of connect to the pain of the fact that, you know, this is actually hurting me and it's quite self-destructive, the more chance you have of like changing your life altogether.
Yeah.
It's when we don't connect to the pain and accept that it's quite self-destructive that we just go over and over and over again, till probably then you get some sort of kidney damage or liver damage or something that actually really affects you, and then you've got no choice but to stop, essentially.
And you don't know what's wrong with the body until something's in pain.
Yeah.
And these things are, you know, these things are long-standing, as in, you know, you can. Everyone knows disease can creep up over years. So then to try and find out where it comes from, but I definitely think alcohol shouldn't be consumed through that way excessively at all. You know, it can be used in certain senses to numb pain or you know, clean. It cleans a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, but I think the addiction isn't in the alcohol; it's in the person. You know, you go to hospital, you might take heroin if you've had a car crash. You know, you're not going to walk out going, I need another jab. You know, like, so I look at it like, it's always the problem with the person, what's going on.
Yeah.
And then that becomes the vice.
Yeah.
And really there are just a lot better ways that I've gone through in the breathwork, the men sharing circles, the travel, the experiences, you know, the happy through my nose, whatever that was, like, you know, the trips, all these things are, right, okay, I know that if I'm going through this shit in my 40s, I've got the weapons. I've got the tools I need to wake up and feel good every morning. If I'm stressed, I know how to put myself in a position where I can get through this stuff. Because as you grow, things get harder. You know, you go through more deaths when you're older. You go through more business struggles. You go through more financial struggles. You go through having children. And I think we need to set up these facilities where, or just the knowledge, which a lot of people, you know, can see through YouTube. The internet's free, yo. There's a lot on there.
There is,
you know. So
it's just looking for the right thing all the time, isn't it?
I mean, a lot of the time, the knowledge is just out of reach. And it's out of reach, and you just don't know where to look. You know, you're not really gonna, you know, I'm stressed. Oh, I'll go look on YouTube, like what to do when stressed. You can, and you probably come across Wim Hof or breathing or stuff like that.
That'd be really helpful.
You know, but it's also, you know, understanding your own mind. I went through the lockdown. I went through learning. I had OCD, or at the time I'd like to call it OCD. Now I'd just say I wasn't in control of my own thoughts. And you can't be, in a sense, it's how you react with them. They're like clouds passing. You either want to interact or not. You know, so I went through the process of having a professor of OCD who's written a book on it. And we went through like 2 months of seeing how I was, because I couldn't control an everyday thought that was coming up a lot of the time. It was very much not what I was or how I was feeling.
Is that
it's just
a form
depression.
of OCD?
Yeah. Well, there's intrusive thought OCD. So, you know, the fact that rather than shutting a door 10 times because you just feel like you can't, that's what you need to do. This is more like an overthinking. You know.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic as well, so my mind works in a different way to someone that isn't. They say that dyslexics think of 1,000 thoughts over a logical one in the way that it's too much. Sometimes they're sporadic, you know. But with OCD, it was that. I had the call, but this is where I went through my meditations and things like that. So I kind of knew I knew the balance. I was like, why was I feeling so much like that? And I said to this guy, what's the process now? I've got it. Like, I'm meditating, I'm running, I'm working out. I don't feel like it's really affecting me every day like it was. He was like, well, I don't think I need to medicate you because you're doing these things. So I was like, well, what do you do if someone isn't doing these things? He's like, well, we medicate them. And it's like, but surely there should be a structure, right? We're going to, maybe if they're severe, yes. Antidepressants can be good in severe environments, not knocking the whole system. But
are you training? Are you getting sunlight? Are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? Like all of these really fundamental things.
Exactly.
Before you start taking some sort of drug.
It's like a plant. If you don't give it sunlight, don't give it water, you know, it's not gonna grow in the right way. And, you know, depression in that way is your body going, I don't like who you are right now, mate. You know, I'm not happy. You know, so you need to build those structures around. And I felt with the OCD thing, I was like, cool, got that, but don't really have that. Kind of, you can label me with that, but I'm like, it's kind of my way of thinking of OCD and ADHD is they are a creature of environment. Everything is a creature of environment. If you put someone in a classroom and they don't like being in that classroom, guy said this on Joe Rogan.
You're going to misbehave.
The doctor, you're going to misbehave. You're going to unfocus. You're not going to want to be there. So then it causes that. But yeah, do I have lack of focus when I'm editing for 4 hours? I fucking should do. It's unnatural. I'm staring at a screen. I'm not in nature. I'm not doing something that's right. So yeah, I might need a break and come back, but I don't go, I've got ADHD, I can't focus. You know, it's like what you're doing.
You try not to label yourself with it, because otherwise you become
and that causes you know, annoyance to people. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to be a victim to it because I will use it, because you know I can be hyper at times. But I think a lot of that comes from, you know, kids have it, give them Ritalin, give them Adderall. You know, it comes from that at the same time. I think there's a structure there. There's a placement to make profit out of, especially in America. And I think now it's kind of a bandwagon in a sense. We're going through this process. Well, I have that, I can't do this. And it's like, well, give balance. If you struggle with concentration, meditate for 20 minutes or work 20 minutes. Don't be...
But it's a lot easier to... For some people, it's just a lot easier just to take a pill and
hope
that the problem just
goes
and
away. Have you ever taken Ritalin or Adderall?
No,
it's like fucking cocaine.
Is it?
Yeah, I took one. I cleaned my house for 4 hours, and I took it by mistake. It was an ex-girlfriend of mine. I was like, well, the house was clean as fuck. But you know, I used to have kids that would come to my shop in Camden, and they were on it, and they look like don't eat a lot, don't sleep a lot.
So some girl, because I think I've got ADHD, and some girl who I was talking to.
You need a garden.
Yeah, need a garden. Yeah, damn it.
Little grass patch on the balcony.
But yeah, she was warning me off Ritalin. She was just saying like it made her too drowsy, a bit too dopey. But everything affects people in different ways, and I suppose,
of course,
you know, medication. I've always.
But you've never seen a fat skeleton, have you?
The fat skeleton.
We're pretty much all the same internally, you know. But I think the environment is what is, you know, the mental environment.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I can't really go into London that much anymore.
Yeah, you don't have a...
I can't do it. No. I like going to the park. I like talking to mushrooms and fucking seeing what's growing, and you know what I mean, and being in a field with my shoes off and running around. You know, stuff. Free I feel spirit. Happy in that realm. You know, getting up at 6 a.m. I rate anyone that has to do it and get on the tube and come out in a rat race and do all that. I've tried that. I've done that, and it's like it was hard. You know, it is hard. And then you appreciate. Look how everyone was with parks in COVID. They looked like HD.
It was so
like,
busy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a park in like 2, and because that was all you had, people were going from, you know, the confines of their house to nature, and everyone loved it again. And we kind of got back to our roots a little bit and started to learn a little bit, like, okay, I don't need to work so much. I should be not on this train so much of must. But, you know, living in London's hard. You got to make rent. You got to fucking
pay the bills.
Work a lot. You know, it keeps you in that. It keeps you in that bracket. You know, minimum wage is always going to be a lot lower than it should be. So I feel that's what
It's like a system, like for us all to be stuck in that kind of rat race all the time.
Yeah,
I understand that. Do you know what? I've really enjoyed this chat today. Like,
feels like a fucking tornado.
Yeah, well, it's been quite interesting. Like, because there was definitely a few topics I wanted to, you know, speak to you about, and to be fair, I think we've covered more than.
Like, I talk fast.
Yeah, it's all right. No, I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to wrap this up. And
good.
So I appreciate you coming here today, brother.
No worries.
And I wish you well on your next chapter as well.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do this again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll pull up in a truck.
Yeah, that's it. You're welcome.
Or you'll come to my wacky retreat. I'll try and be not the naked hippie. I'll try and be normal by that time.
Yeah, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, man. And
appreciate it.
I'm proud of your process as well, and you're hitting it quick, and you know, just keep doing it, and stick with it, you know.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Keep motivated.
Yeah, that's it. Keep the motive going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
big love. Thank you.
No worries.
Cheers.